Michelle Obama stepped onto the View stage, her smile sharp, her tone unrelenting as she called Donald Trump a pathetic loser. She mocked his deportation policy as inhumane, tearing families apart, then turned to Trump's marriage to Melania, so fake it's laughable. The audience erupted in applause, cheers echoing loudly like fuel on a fire. Within hours, Karoline Leavitt appeared in an urgent Fox News interview, her eyes blazing. Michelle just attacked the president. She picked the wrong fight. I'm ready to face her anywhere, anytime to expose the truth. Her razor-sharp challenge spread like wildfire. CNN seized the moment, inviting both to America Tonight for a live TV showdown. That evening, Michelle nodded calm, I'm always ready to speak the truth, before diving into the story. Comment where you're watching from and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the latest stories. Karoline Leavitt, with a defiant smile and clenched fists, responded on X right after accepting the invite. She'll regret opening her mouth. I'll crush her on CNN. No mercy. The America Tonight stage lights flared, the opening music blared, and Anderson Cooper stood in the CNN studio, his voice steady. Welcome to a special evening. We have two guests, Michelle Obama, former First Lady, and Karoline Leavitt, White House press secretary. The audience clapped, but tension already filled the room. Michelle sat on the left in an elegant blue dress, a faint smile but icy eyes. Leavitt on the right in a crisp black suit, hands clenched on the table, eyes burning like she was ready for battle. Cooper continued after Mrs. Obama's fierce criticism on The View, we're here to hear both sides. Mrs. Obama, please begin. Before Michelle could speak, Leavitt leaned forward, her voice steel cutting in. No need to beat around the bush. Anderson, Michelle called President Trump a failure. I'm here to set the record straight right now. The crowd gasped. Cooper flinched, trying to interject. Miss Leavitt, please wait. But Leavitt didn't stop. She pointed at Michelle, eyes sparking. You talk about failure. Look at your husband's 8 disastrous years. Obamacare is a mess. Millions of Americans lost jobs. And you sit there preaching like you're innocent. I'm not here for your fairy tales. Michelle raised an eyebrow, her smile briefly stiffening, but she stayed composed. Livid gave her no breathing room, pressing on. You call our deportation policy inhumane. I've got stats: over 1,100 illegal criminals removed from this country under President Trump's leadership. That's real action too. Protect Americans, something your husband never managed. Her voice sharpened, each word a blade. You want to talk about tearing families apart? Ask the American families who lost loved ones to illegal immigrant crime what they think of your humanity. The room exploded with boos and applause. Some audience members stood shouting support for Leavitt, while others shook their heads in dissent. Cooper raised a hand, trying to restore order. Miss Leavitt, please let Mrs. Obama respond. But Leavitt smirked, turning to the crowd. They don't want you to hear the truth, but I'll say it. President Trump built America. Your husband Barack left a mountain of debt and empty promises. Michelle, you're done. I'm the present, and I'm here to show the nation how wrong you are. Michelle finally spoke, her voice low but sharp. Miss Leavitt, I don't know what you're talking about, but I won't sit here listening to fabrications. She turned to Cooper. If she wants to talk truth, let me start. But Leavitt cut in again. Unrelenting fabrications. You want truth. The truth is your husband left the border wide open, let criminals flood in, and now you sit here pretending to care. I don't need your script. I've got facts, and facts don't lie. She pulled a paper from her pocket, holding it to the camera. This is an ICE report, crimes by illegal immigrants in Barack Obama's final year. You want to talk about tearing families apart? Tell that to those victims about who's really inhumane. Leavitt tossed the paper on the table, her eyes daring. Michelle, can you face these numbers, or do you just spin so stories for tears? The audience roared again, one person yelling, keep going, Carlin. Cooper banged the table. Miss Leavitt, we need order. But Leavitt didn't care, leaning closer to Michelle. You call the president's marriage fake. I'm not here to play gossip games like you. I'm here to defend a man who acts for America, unlike your husband, who talked a big game but left a mess. Michelle shook her head, trying to stay calm. She clearly doesn't want to debate, just to yell. But Leavitt laughed loudly, dripping with sarcasm. Yell no, Michelle, I'm speaking truth, and you can't handle it. You've lived in an ivory tower too long, coasting on Barack's glow to stay relevant. I'm different. I stand on my own, and I don't need anyone shielding me to beat you tonight. The America Tonight studio still shook from Karoline Leavitt's ferocious attack. Anderson Cooper, struggling to regain control, turned to Michelle Obama. Mrs. Obama, Miss Leavitt has made several accusations. Your response? Michelle sat up straight, hands resting lightly on the table, her calm smile returning, but her eyes now colder than ever. She took a deep breath, her low, steady voice ringing out, Miss Leavitt clearly loves to shout, but I'm not here to play who's loudest. If she wants truth, I'll give her in America the truth. She turned to Leavitt, eyes locked. You call Obamacare a disaster. Millions of Americans got health insurance for the first time because of it. That's action, not empty words. Trump's deportation policy, it's not protecting anyone, it's cruelty masked as security. I've met families torn apart, kids crying as parents were dragged away. You call that protecting America? I call it heartless. The audience erupted in applause, cheers rising from Michelle's supporters. She continued, her tone laced with sarcasm. You can throw stats at me all day, but numbers don't tell human stories. You're too young to get that. Karoline Leavitt laughed, the sound harsh in the studio. She leaned forward, cutting in before Michelle finished. Young maybe, but I'm not as naive as you think. Michelle, you want to spin sad tales for tears. I'm not here for theater. You say Obamacare is a success, millions lost Jobs over skyrocketing costs, small businesses collapsed. That's your husband's legacy. Don't act like you don't know. Her voice hardened, eyes blazing. Families torn apart. Ask American families who lost loved ones to illegal immigrant crime how they feel. Who do you choose, Michelle? Americans or law break acres? The crowd exploded again, half clapping, half booing. Cooper raised a hand. Miss Leavitt, please let Mrs. Obama finish. But Leavitt didn't stop pointing at Michelle. You're not done, but I'll go first. You want to play morality? I've got truth, and truth doesn't need tears to stand. She gestured as if holding something invisible. You call me heartless, that's reality, something you and your husband dodged for 8 years. Michelle shook her head, her voice still calm but now edged with bite. Miss Karoline, you can scream about reality all day, but your reality is twisted. Stats: Barack's administration saved America from economic collapse, something Trump never grasped. His deportation policy, it doesn't solve problems, it creates chaos. You should know better than anyone that shouting doesn't make you right. Leavitt smirked, unfazed. Chaos? You want to talk chaos? Look at the border under your husband, wide open to anyone who wanted in. Trump fixed it, and you can't stand that he did it better. She pulled another paper from her stack, holding it up. Barack's last year, over 2,000 violent crimes tied to illegal immigrants recorded. You call that saving America? That's failure, and you're part of it. The audience grew loud, one shouting right on Karoline. Michelle raised an eyebrow, holding her composure. You like numbers? Then let's talk about the millions of jobs created under Barack, something Trump brags about but never matched. But Leavitt cut her off instantly. Jobs? You mean the low-wage gigs Americans were forced into because of your husband's failed policies? Trump brought real jobs back, manufacturing, energy, not your number games. Cooper sighed, trying to break in. Both of you, please. But Leavitt ignored him, turning to the crowd. She wants to distract you with feel-good stories and cherry-picked stats. I'm here to say it straight. Trump acts. Your husband just talked. You call me young? Fine, I'm young enough to see how outdated you are. Her voice sharpened, eyes daring. Michelle, you've ridden Barack's coattails too long. I don't need a boost to beat you, and I'm doing it right now. Michelle tilted her head, her voice calm but cutting. Miss Karoline, you can attack me, but it doesn't change the fact that Trump's administration is dividing this country. I don't need anyone's glow to stand here. I speak from the heart, not anger. The audience clapped, but Leavitt laughed. The sound cold heart. You think heart beats truth? I'm not angry, Michelle. I'm just saying what you don't want to hear. You divided the country. Look at the protests under your husband. That's division. She turned to Cooper. She wants to play emotions. I've got facts, and facts don't care about feelings. Leavitt raised her hand, ticking off points. Chaotic border, stagnant economy, Obamacare flop. That's Barack Obama's legacy, and you can't run from it. Michelle opened her mouth to reply, but Leavitt cut in again. Not done? Fine, but I'm warning you, every word you say just gives me more ammo to expose your weakness. I'm not here to lose, and you'll see I never stop. The America Tonight studio shook with shouts from both sides, the air thick like it could ignite. Anderson Cooper, face flushed from trying to keep order, raised his hand again. We need calm. Michelle took a deep breath. Aiming to reclaim control after Karoline Leavitt's relentless assault, she turned to the audience, her voice low but carrying her signature calm. I'm not here to argue with anger. I'm here to talk about what really matters, a united America, not one torn apart by policies like Trump's. Miss Leavitt can yell about stats, but I know Americans want leadership with heart, not just toughness. Leavitt laughed instantly, the sound sharp like a gunshot. She leaned forward, eyes sparking, cutting in before Michelle finished. Heart? You think heart fixes problems? Michelle, I'm not here to lull you to sleep. I'm here to say the truth you won't face. She raised her hand, voice iron. You want unity? Look at the violent protests under your husband. Ferguson, Baltimore, that's your unity. Trump brought order while you and Barack left chaos. Don't pretend you're the hero here. The audience grew loud, some clapping for Leavitt, others booing. Michelle raised an eyebrow, staying calm. Miss Karoline, you twist history to fit your story. Those protests were people crying for justice, something Trump's administration never understood. But Leavitt didn't let her finish, slamming the table, voice biting. Justice? You call street violence justice? I call it your husband's failure to lead. Trump cleaned up that mess, and you can't handle that he did it better. Cooper broke in. Miss Leavitt, please let Mrs. Obama. But Leavitt brushed him off, pulling a small screen from her pocket, flicking it on for the camera. Here's proof video of Trump signing the border security order his first week in office. That's action, not empty talk like you. She turned to Michelle, a defiant smile. You spin unity tales for tears. I've got reality. Americans pick Trump because he gets it done, unlike your husband who speechified and left everything in ruins. Michelle shook her head, her voice sharper. You can play videos, but you can't deny that the Trump administration is dividing this country with fear and anger. Barack brought hope, something you and Trump will never understand. Leavitt laughed loudly, the sound dripping with sarcasm. Hope? You call 8 years of failure hope? That's delusion. Trump brought job security, and you sit there dreaming of a world that doesn't exist. She stood up, pointing straight at Michelle. You want to talk division? Look at your husband's immigration policy, wide open borders, criminals pouring in. Americans don't need empty hope, they need action, and Trump delivered it. The audience erupted in shouts, one person waving a Trump sign, forcing Cooper to yell, please sit down. Michelle tried to regain ground, her voice firm. Miss Karoline, you can attack me and Barack all you want, but Americans know who really cares about them. Trump's deportation policy isn't action, it's unplanned cruelty. But Leavitt turned to the crowd. She wants you to forget the truth that her husband left America weak, vulnerable. I'm here to remind you Trump rebuilt it, and she can't stand that he outdid Barack. Michelle opened her mouth to reply, but Leavitt raised her hand to stop her. Don't bother, Michelle. You spin so stories to hide failure. I've got facts, and facts don't cry. Michelle tilted her head, her smile fading, her voice trembling slightly. For the first time that night, you think facts are everything. You don't get that leadership is about people, not just numbers. Leavitt smirked, her voice cold. People? You mean the people who lost jobs because of Obamacare, the people living in fear because of an unsecured border? I understand more than you think, and I'm here to protect them, not comfort them with platitudes. Cooper sighed, looking at the camera. We're witnessing an unrelenting showdown. But Leavitt cut him off. Even then, unrelenting? You're damn right, Anderson. I'm not here to negotiate with Mrs. Obama. She sat down, her eyes daring. Michelle, want to keep going? Go ahead. Michelle stared at Leavitt, her calm visibly wavering. For the first time, she took a deep breath, her voice lower. Miss Karoline, you can shout all you want, but the truth doesn't change. Trump's administration doesn't bring unity, only division. But Leavitt didn't let her finish, jumping up again. Truth, the truth is you and your husband failed and Trump fixed it. You call that division? It's victory, and you can't stomach it, Anderson. Cooper, sweat rolling down his forehead, tried to speak over the mic. We need calm, but no one listened. Michelle Obama sat upright, her hands clenched tighter than ever, her eyes steely, but the calm smile that once defined her now completely gone. Karoline Leavitt stood there, eyes ablaze, a proud smile like a warrior who just spotted her rival's weakness. Leavitt raised her hand, pointing straight at Michelle. Trump built a strong America. Your husband tore it apart from the inside. That's the delusion of a man who talked but didn't act. She turned to the crowd, her voice biting. She wants you to believe Barack saved America. Really? Look at the soaring national debt, uncontrolled borders, and empty promises he left behind. Trump fixed it all, and she can't handle that he did it better. The audience exploded in applause, one person raising a mega sign high, forcing Cooper to slam the table again. Michelle took a deep breath, trying to regain control, her voice low but slightly shaky. Miss Karoline, you can twist the truth all you like, but Americans know who brought light after darkness. Iraq led the country through an economic crisis. Trump just divides us with fear. But Leavitt cut in instantly, eyes sparking light. You call 8 years of stagnation light? That's the darkness Trump had to clean up. You want to talk fear? Ask Americans scared of losing jobs, scared of immigrant crime. They don't fear Trump, they fear your legacy. Michelle opened her mouth to respond, but Leavitt gave her no chance, stepping closer, her voice icy. You want to spin sob stories to cover failure? I'm not here to hear you weep. You call Trump's deportation policy cruel. Here's the truth: over 1,100 criminals removed. One's your husband's administration let slip through. Who do you protect, Michelle? Americans or criminals? She turned to the crowd. She wants you to forget the victim's eye. Won't. Trump stands with Americans, you stand with lies. She pulled another screen from her pocket, flicking it on for the camera. This is Trump's order, beefing up ICE, thousands of illegal criminal arrests. You call that division? I call it protection, something your husband never managed. Leavitt tossed the screen on the table, her eyes daring. Look at the riots under Barack. That's real anger. Trump brought order, and you just sit there judging. Michelle leaned forward, her voice trembling more. You don't get it, Karoline. Leadership isn't about crushing people. It's about lifting them up. Barack did that. Trump just sows fear. But Leavitt cut in, her voice cold. Lifting up? Who did you lift besides law breakers? I'm here to crush your lies, and I'm doing it right now. She turned to the crowd. She wants you to think Trump's the villain. Truth is he wins. You and your husband are the losers. She wants you to forget her husband left America weak, vulnerable. I'm here to remind you Trump rebuilt it, and she can't accept that. Michelle shook her head, her hands trembling slightly on the table, silent for a few seconds. For the first time that night, Leavitt smirked, her voice icy. Out of words? Good, because I'm not done. I'll keep tearing apart every word you say until you admit defeat. Michelle finally spoke, her voice low and strained. Miss Karoline, you can yell all you want, but the truth doesn't change. Trump isn't the answer. But Leavitt didn't let her finish, stepping to the table's edge, eyes proud. The answer? Trump's the solution. You're the problem. You spin so stories to hide your weakness, but I've got facts, I've got action, and I've got victory. She turned to the crowd. This is why we elected Trump, not her, not empty promises. The audience erupted in applause, shouts of Karoline, Karoline echoing through the room. Michelle sat back, her eyes steely, but her hands clenched, white-knuckled, a clear sign of being outmatched. Cooper panted, looking at the camera. We were witnessing something unprecedented, but Leavitt didn't care. Standing there, her eyes daring. Michelle, want to keep going? Go ahead, I'll crush you. Michelle stared at Leavitt, her confidence seeming to crumble. For the first time, she took a deep breath, but said nothing more. Leavitt laughed loudly, her voice still ringing out one last time. Game over, Michelle. I'm the future, you're the past, and all of America knows it. The room shook with shouts. Cooper helpless, the tension peaking, signaling Leavitt had completely dominated her rival. Live on air, Anderson Cooper, nearly exhausted, wiped sweat from his Forehead his voice, we need to calm down, but no one listened. Michelle Obama sat there, her hands clenched, white-knuckled, her eyes steely, but no trace left of the calm smile that once defined her. Karoline Leavitt stood opposite, eyes blazing, a proud smile like a warrior who just felt her final foe. She raised her hand, her voice iron out of words. Michelle, good, because I've made it clear Trump is victory, your defeat. Michelle took a deep breath, trying to muster some composure, her voice low and strained. Miss Karoline, I'm not here to bicker with pointless aggression. I came to speak the truth, and truth doesn't need to shout to be heard. She turned to the audience, her eyes softening as if seeking sympathy. Americans know who really cares about them. I don't need to stoop to prove it, but her words lacked their usual strength, like a final effort to save face under Leavitt's relentless pressure. Leavitt laughed, the sound cold echoing through the studio. She stepped to the table's edge, eyes daring truth. You're giving up because you know I'm right. Trump's the winner. You and your husband are the losers. She turned to the crowd, her voice steel. She calls me aggressive. Fine, I'm aggressive for Americans, for those abandoned under Barack Obama. You want to talk caring? Ask the families who lost loved ones to immigrant crime. They don't need your hollow truth. They need Trump's action. The audience exploded in applause, shouts of Karoline ringing out across the room. Michelle shook her head, her voice weakening. You can attack me all you want, but I'm not playing this game anymore. She turned to Cooper, her eyes tired. I've said what I needed to say. If she wants to shout, let her shout. It was the clearest sign of retreat. No more arguments, no more rebuttals, just an effort to hold on to some dignity and defeat. Cooper nodded, trying to interject. Thank you, Mrs. Obama. But Leavitt cut in immediately, her voice cold. No, Anderson, I'm not done. She wants to back out. Fine, but I'll make sure all of America knows why. She turned to Michelle, a proud smile. That's running away. You can't face the truth that Trump did what your husband only dreamed of. You want to talk caring? I care about real Americans, the workers, the forgotten families. You care about your image, about Barack's long-faded glow. Leavitt raised her hand, ticking off points. Soaring national debt, chaotic borders, stagnant economy. That's your legacy, and I'm here to expose it. The audience grew loud again, applause mixing with boos. One person held up a Trump sign high, forcing Cooper to shout, please sit down. But Leavitt didn't care, turning to the crowd, her voice steel. She wants you to think Trump's the problem. Truth is she and her husband are the problem. Trump's the solution. I'm here to defend him, to defend you, and I won't apologize for it. She pointed straight at Michelle. You've lost, Michelle. You can retreat, but I won't let you leave without admitting defeat. Michelle looked at Leavitt, her hands relaxing on the table, her eyes now more empty than steely. She spoke slowly, her voice almost a whisper. You don't understand what leadership is, Karoline. I don't need to win this game to know I'm right. But Leavitt laughed loudly, the sound harsh. Leadership? You call 8 years of failure leadership? I call it a joke, and Trump proved it. You don't need to win good because you've lost, and all of America sees it. Leavitt sat down, her proud eyes never leaving Michelle. She tapped the table lightly like a final mark. You want to back out? Go ahead, but don't forget I crushed you tonight, and I'll do it again anytime you dare open your mouth. Michelle didn't reply, just stared ahead, her hands limp, her silence now saying everything. A once unbeatable icon now outmatched by an unrelenting foe. Cooper sighed, looking at the camera. This is an unbelievable night. We'll take a break. But Leavitt cut in one last time, her voice cold. No need for a break, Anderson. I'm done. She's got nothing left to say. She stood walking off the stage with proud eyes, leaving Michelle sitting there, her glow seeming to vanish under the studio lights. As the lights dimmed, the room still echoed with applause and shouts, but the showdown ended with a clear victory tilting toward Karoline Leavitt. Michelle Obama left the stage in silence, her once unbeatable figure now faded under Leavitt's shine. Social media erupted instantly like a fire spreading across America. Within minutes of the show's end, #Karoline crushes shot to the top of XS trending list, defying all predictions. Users posted clips of Leavitt holding up the screen shouting about Trump's victory with captions, she just took down Michelle Obama, no mercy. One account wrote, Karoline Leavitt is the Democrats' nightmare, young, aggressive, and fearless. Fox News jumped in fast, replaying Leavitt's domination of Michelle with the headline, Leavitt crushes Michelle Obama in TV battle of the century. Sean Hannity appeared right after voice-excited. Karoline Leavitt is MAGA's new star. She didn't just defend President Trump, she flattened a Democratic icon with truth and grit. Commentators praised her sharpness. She's young, but she did what many wouldn't dare face, Michelle Obama. And when meanwhile MSNBC tried to defend Michelle, Joy Reid saying Mrs. Obama held her dignity against Leavitt's aggression, but their voices were feeble, drowned out by the wave backing Leavitt. On X, memes spread like wildfire. A shot of Leavitt pointing at Michelle was captioned, "When you call Trump a failure but get knocked out by a 27-year-old press secretary." Another clip showed Michelle's silent hands clenched with the note, "When you know you've lost but have to keep face." Trump supporters posted nonstop. Karoline just showed the nation who really leads MAGAs rising. Even neutrals admitted she's aggressive, but she's got facts. Michelle couldn't counter. The divide was clear, but the tide favoring Leavitt was undeniable. Less than an hour after the show, Donald Trump hit Truth Social, posting in all caps, "Karoline Leavitt is my star. She just crushed Michelle Obama and showed all of America the truth. Fantastic." The post racked up thousands of likes and shares, cementing Leavitt's standing with Trump loyalists. A White House source leaked that Trump called Leavitt right after laughing, "You made me proud, Karoline. No one did it better tonight." Meanwhile, Democrats tried to downplay the loss. Some Michelle supporters posted on X, "She didn't need to stoop to Leavitt's level. Dignity still wins." But those words couldn't sway the narrative. A CNN commentator admitted, "Leavitt won the optics. She's aggressive but effective." Michelle kept her poise, but it wasn't enough against that storm. Online polls popped up with over 60% of viewers naming Leavitt the winner, a landslide figure worrying Democrats on the streets. Reactions were just as fierce. At a Texas bar, viewers cheered as Leavitt held up Trump's order screen, one yelling, "She speaks for us." At a New York cafe, a small group shook their heads. Michelle shouldn't have stepped into this fight. Divided or not, no one could deny Leavitt left a mark, a young fearless figure who took down a global icon live on air. Leavitt, after leaving the studio, faced a crowd of reporters outside CNN. In her black suit, eyes proud, her voice steel, "I came to defend President Trump and speak the truth." Michelle Obama thought she could mock him without pushback. "She was wrong and I proved it." Tonight, a reporter asked, "Do you think you were too aggressive?" Leavitt smirked, "Aggressive? I call it fighting for Americans. If Mrs. Obama can't handle it, that's her problem." Michelle declined interviews after the show, leaving quietly with her team. A source close to her revealed, "She doesn't want to keep fighting this. She believes the truth will speak for itself, but the truth, at least in the public's eyes tonight, belonged to Leavitt." Political analysts started buzzing. Karoline Leavitt is a rising Republican star. This battle will shape her career. On X, one user wrote, "Leavitt just turned Michelle into the past. This is MAGA's new generation." Another replied, "Michelle lost because she wasn't ready for that kind of attack." Though Democrats tried to shield Michelle, the wave of recognition for Leavitt was unstoppable. She'd crowned herself not just as Trump's defender, but as a new symbol of aggression and victory in American politics. Leavitt became the talk of every conversation. Fox News analysts dubbed her MAGA's new fire, predicting she's not just press secretary, but a future Republican leader. On X, users kept praising Karoline Leavitt. "Just proved youth isn't a weakness, she's the future." Another comment read, "Michelle was once unbeatable, but Leavitt changed that." Despite Democratic efforts to downplay it, the truth was undeniable. Leavitt had crowned herself not just with words, but with ruthless claps. Back on live TV, Trump summoned Leavitt to the Oval Office the next day. He stood shaking her hand with a rare smile. "You did great, Karoline. No one took down Michelle like you did last night." Leavitt nodded, her voice steel. "I did it for you and America, Mr. President. She mocked you. I couldn't let it slide." Trump patted her shoulder. "You're my secret weapon. Keep it up. We'll go far." Leavitt left the room, eyes blazing with new ambition. Not just defending Trump, but building her own name. Back at her office, Leavitt prepped for the next press briefing. She stood before a mirror, adjusting her black suit, eyes steady. The clash with Michelle wasn't just a debate, it was the turning point that took her from a young press secretary to a symbol of the new conservative generation. She knew the public was watching not just in America, but worldwide, and she was ready for every challenge ahead. An aide stepped in. "Miss Leavitt, the press is waiting." She nodded, a faint smile. "Good, they'll see I don't stop the story." Karoline Leavitt claps back ruthlessly after Michelle Obama mocks Donald Trump on live TV reflects a very real aspect of life in the U.S. today: stark political polarization, the media's role in amplifying conflict, and the power of youth in shaping the future. In the tale, Michelle Obama mocks Trump on The View, representing long-held progressive values, while Leavitt, a young press secretary, fires back fiercely on America Tonight, embodying modern conservative aggression. This clash isn't just personal, it's a symbol of generational and ideological divides, a reality evident in American society. From elections to X debates, Leavitt's triumph backed by explosive public reaction, and Trump's Truth Social post shows how media and opinion can swiftly elevate someone to icon status, especially in the digital age. The lesson from this story is in a polarized society like today's U.S. preparation, confidence, and seizing the moment can shape your fate. No matter your age or experience, Leavitt used facts, deportation stats, order videos, and unrelenting attitude to overwhelm Michelle. Despite her iconic status, it's a reminder that whichever side you're on, mastering your argument and facing challenges head-on is key to surviving public battles. Yet Michelle's retreat also teaches that sometimes holding dignity and knowing when to exit a fight matters more than winning at all costs. Learn from Leavitt, prepare thoroughly like she did in the Oval Office, but also from Michelle, don't let aggression strip away your core values in real life. Whether debating at school, work, or on social media, blend truth, strength with tact to make your mark without losing yourself. If you loved seeing Karoline Leavitt crush Michelle Obama with truth and grit, subscribe now so you don't miss the next epic showdowns. Thanks for watching. See you in the upcoming